Hello and welcome again to Appreciating Math via Coding, and this time we're going to look at random walks. Again, we're going to build some math objects, and again we recommend that you have a snap window open and work along with us. And to see how you might do those things, here are the instructions here. They're the same as we've been using in our getting started. But if you're not familiar with them, you can certainly press pause and read them. And if you want to see a demonstration, then just get to this website here and click on one of the getting started videos, and they all show how to get started there. In the meantime, I'm just going to go to a browser and type in this URL, and that's how I'm going to get to our home page. In fact, there's a browser right there. And we don't need the HTTP, but we do need tinyurl.com/math coding UWRF. And once you get to our home page, all is good. Because then you can read a little bit here if you're not familiar with it. You can read even more if you want to do that. And you can just click this button here, and now you're in Snap. You are in the same window with probably the video you've got right here. So I would recommend, again, to make things work a little smoother, grabbing this and dragging it to a separate window, and then resizing so you can see both the video and what you're doing. Okay. Again, I don't have a video because we're making it right now, so all I really want to do is see a big screen here with Snap. Okay. So we're in Snap and we're in presentation mode, and there's nothing to present right now, so we'll click the double arrows and get out of there. Okay. And now we're back to a blank Snap project with a little bit of modification. I think we talked last time a little bit about that. We've hidden some of the commands here in the past because we didn't need them, and why dive in with them all staring on the face. But now with a random walk, we are going to need some more of these. So we really just use that button to get us into Snap. If you have a faster way to get into Snap, maybe you have a shortcut, that's fine. So we're going to go now and say File, New, and that's going to say replace the current project. Well, our project is empty. We'll say yes. And now we've got a lot more commands, some of which we're going to use. We also have more commands over on the Pin page. Those are the only two pages where we actually hit some stuff. And so there's some more commands there too. But I'm going back to Motion now. So that picks the number at random. But now we want to turn that much. And again, just for a little history, I'll leave this turn here and bring in another turn here and drag the pick random down to here. So now, when we click the block, things work from the inside out. Snap will pick a number at random between 0 and 359 and then report that number not to us anymore because it's sitting inside the turn. It'll report it to the turn block and we'll see it turn. So I can click this a few times and you can see the sprite turning around and so forth. And what I really want to do is I want it to turn and move to do our walk. So let me put a duplicate here to keep a little history there. And now I can click this and get our random walk. We're getting close to it now. A couple things we want to do. We want to have an opportunity to restart, but sometimes we'll want to keep our previous walk on the screen. So for our restart this time, we won't clear the screen. Okay. But we will go back to the center, which is 0, 0, so that'll be part of our restart. Okay. And we will also point in the right direction just because that's how we start things. Okay. All right. And again, 90 degrees is to the right. We're not going to clear the screen. And we also don't want to drag any random lines back through here. Actually, it won't be random. That's the problem. There'll be a scratch here. So if I click this right now, it's going to come back to 0, 0, and it's going to point to the right, the sprite is, but it's going to draw that line in there, so I'll show you. So we don't want that because that's not part of our random path. So let's go over to Pin and get pin up before we do that. We didn't do that in our earlier restarts because we were going to have a clear after here. And so if we do an extraneous line, we got rid of it right away. Although it's not very elegant even then. But now we really can't do it because it puts the extra line in here. And to be sure, when we start our random walk, the pin is down. Let's go ahead and put the pin down in there. So now when we click this, take the pin up, get back to the center, point to the right, and put the pin down. Okay. And let's give that a name so we don't have to keep looking at it all the time. So we'll build a block, right mouse over a blank area, make a block, put it on motion because that's where we're putting a lot of our stuff, and we'll call it restart. It is a command. All the sprites can have it. We only have one sprite, but they can have it. And I'll click OK. And then I'll put this inside there. Okay. And I'll click apply rather than OK, just so we can have a couple of more minutes to look at this in case there are any questions about it. Okay. I'll go back over to motion because that's where I put it. Now with these extra commands, we have to scroll down to see ours. There's the restart though. I'll put it here. And I'll click restart. And we're back to here, but we didn't clear the screen. We still have our extraneous line. So I'm going to do one clear just to get that off. And now I can click this and get my first step, another random turn, another step, and so on like that. Okay. Okay. So that's pretty good, but I still have to keep clicking that a lot. So let's put this in its own block. So let's do right mouse, make a block, and put it on motion. And let's call it RW for random walk. Okay. After all, sometimes abbreviations, if the context is clear, are good. In this country, we often refer to it as the U.S. or the USA rather than saying United States of America every time. So we're going to do so many random walks that you're going to get used to calling them RWs. So we'll click Command here and click OK. And this is what's in there. Pick your turn, pick the number for your turn, then make your turn, and then move 30 steps. Now, 30 was good when we were starting so we could see what's going on, but we don't want to get off the screen because that would mess up our randomness. We wouldn't be able to see all the things going on. So let's take a step of 1. We'll be able to stay on the screen longer. Okay. So I'll click OK. And I'm going to keep clicking clear right now because we're changing the method of what we're doing. Later on, we won't be changing the method between each one. So there's my clear. And here's my random walk down over here, RW. So I can sit there and click that. Okay. Now, that's a lot of work to keep clicking it. Am I getting my pin? Am I getting my pin down? Did I click? Maybe I didn't click restart. Okay, now I'll do my clear. Let's try that again. I'm still not. Let's look at that random walk again. Edit. Pick a number between 0 and 369 degrees. Turn it. And then move a step. All right. Let's see what's happening here now. I'm going to leave it up on the screen for apply there. I do my restart. All right. Pin should be down. Let's do random. Well, now it's behaving better. Maybe it was doing okay before and we just couldn't see it because they were so small. That looks pretty good now. Okay. All right. But the main thing, not the main thing, but another thing I want to do is, I'm getting tired of clicking this. So after you do your turn, after you make your move, start over again. So we'll grab our RW and put it right in here. So now it'll keep on going. So once again, we've changed our method. So I am going to do a clear. I'm going to first do a restart to get it back to the center. Now I'll do my clear. Okay, so now we're finally ready to do our random walk. We're picking our turn, we're taking one step, and we're starting over again. And the screen is clear, and we are pointing to the right, and the pin is down. So I'll close the restart now. I'll click OK. I didn't make any changes though. Okay, and I'll click my apply here just to make sure that's there. And now let's see what happens. And there we go. And now we're starting to get our random walk. Wandering on the screen. And to save a little time, I'm going to pause the recording and let it run, then we can come back and see what it looks like in just a little bit here. And now we're back again, and you can see that the sprite's been busy while we paused our recording. If you haven't got your random walk working yet, you might want to pause the video and get yours working so that it looks like that too. And we'll let this guy run just a little bit more while you're doing that. So I'm going to pause again. Okay, so there's our random walk. And I'm going to hit the stop button to stop it. Now if I were to do this process again, would I get exactly the same result? Probably not, right? I mean, certainly there is a non-zero chance that we get exactly the same random numbers we got last time, but that's not very likely. Well, let's do it. Let's try it and see. So we're going to do our restart, and this is why we don't want to have a clear in our restart. And we aren't changing our method now, so we're not going to do a clear at all. So we're back to the center, pointing to the right. We didn't draw any extraneous lines, and that's good. Let's change the color of the pen, though, so we can see how the new path compares to the old one. So back over to pen, and we could change it by number, but let's pick the color we like. So I'm going to bring this over here in case we want to change again. And I'll click in here, and let's make it red. Okay. All right. So I'll click, and the sprite has turned red to remind me it's going to be red now when I click my random walk here, my RW. And so we got a little bit of new territory there. So I'm going to let it run a while. You can try yours too. And I'm going to pause the screen capturing here, the screen recording. And we'll see what happens in a little bit. So now we're back again. And we can see this time we've certainly got a different result, wandering farther and farther to the left. Well, one thing about random walks when they happen in the real world is they aren't always completely free. In this one, we haven't put any constraints in at all. The sprite is free to wander wherever it may want to go. So let's look at putting some constraints in. And to do that, I'll stop this now. Okay. And let's save this, because this is a pure random walk with no fence or anything. So I'll do a file, save as, and put it on the cloud. Okay, and let's call this we'll get an RW for random walk, and I'll say no fence, no fences. Okay, so if you want to see a random walk with no fence, then you can go to our home page and look there. And just to remind you how that might look, okay. And again, we don't have the random walk section down here yet because we're making it right now. Okay, but it'll say random walk, and there'll be typical results. And the first one will be random walk, no fence, and we might have some more. In fact, we might have to add a few columns here to get all the work we're going to do with random walking. But they'll be here, and you can pick the one you want and look at it. Or you can also save your own copy, which I strongly recommend. So, but if you have a question about how yours compares with ours, and maybe you found a better way of doing it and you want to check it out and then let me know, that'd be great. But for whatever reason, you'll have the option here to do those things. Okay, we'll minimize that now. Okay, well, what about a constraint? Well, let me do a restart now. Okay. And now we'll do a clear because we're going to change the method now. And let me get the pen back to black since we're starting out here again. Okay. 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 Well, just for hopefully a little bit of fun, let's suppose that the sprite is our pet and it's wandering in our yard and we're going to put it in the visible fence. And maybe there's some kind of hazard up here. About when we get too high, something like maybe the y coordinate gets up to around, let's say 25. Maybe there's a river up here. So we're going to put an invisible fence in, so whenever the sprite gets its y coordinate greater than 25, we're going to send it a very gentle reminder, and it'll come back and undo that last step it took. Okay. All right. We talked about the coordinates in terms of 0, 0, but we didn't talk about the fact that there are coordinates out here all the time. And we don't need to see them necessarily, but maybe we do a little bit when we're going to do a little programming. So right here, these are two blocks that give you the x position of the sprite and the y position. Okay? And if I put the check box in here, there's the x position. That's sprite space x position. And now check this one, it gives me the y position. And sure enough, it's at 0, 0 because I just click restart. And remember, one of the things about restart was put it at the origin. If I drag the sprite over here, then its x position now is up to 120, and my hand wandered down a little bit, and y is -6. If I drag it up here, you can see now that the x position is 198 and the y position is 151. If I drag it over here, then x is -132 and y is 69. So those two blocks will always report to us the y position and the x position. Okay? And that's good for seeing, but that's not good for using in our expressions and everything. However, we can drag these blocks just like any other block. Here's x position and y position. Okay? And if I click this right now, what am I going to see? Well, I better see -132 if it's going to be consistent. Let's see if I do. There it is, -132. Okay. If I click this one, I better see 69. And I do. Okay. Actually, sometimes if you have decimal places in there, there'll be some round off. These are rounded off, and this is what it really is. Okay. So now, not only can this show us what it is, but we can use it in a calculation. Okay, I said there was a problem if the y coordinate got greater than 25. The sprite got too close to the river or whatever it is there. Okay. All right, so we need to compare the y position to 25. Okay, and we need an operator to do that, and the operators are on the operator tab, and they are down here. Okay, so if y is greater than 25, we got a problem. So we need the greater than block. Okay, let me put it over here. Okay, these things are all saved in our random walk no fences. So let's get them out now because things are getting a little cluttered here. And we still might need these pen things here, so we'll leave those. Let's see, anything hiding there? I guess we're okay for a while. Okay. And in fact, let me be careful before I hit save and wipe out the one with no fences. So I'm going to save it right now and change the name. File, save as random walk one fence. Okay. So I'll hit save. I haven't shared them yet, but I'll save them. And I'll share them before you see this video. Okay. So now we're on random walk with one fence is what we're working on. All right. So we got a problem if the y position is bigger than 25. So there's y position. Let me drag this so we can see it. and I'll type into 25. Okay. Now if I click this right now, it's going to report back either true or false depending on whether the Y position is bigger than 25. Well, what's it going to report? True or false? Well, what is the Y position right now? It's 69, so it's going to report, is 69 bigger than 25? Yep, so it's going to report true. There's the true. If I were to drag the sprite down here, the Y position is 20. Okay. If I click this, it's going to say, well, this is going to report 20. Snap's going to say, is 20 bigger than 25? No, it's not, so it's going to report false. There it is, false. Okay. So I can use this. Now how do I want to use it? Well, I want to catch it in the first time it's true that the Y position is bigger than 25, I want the sprite to back up. Okay. So that move of one step that it took, I want it to undo it. And the way to do that, you could do it by changing direction. But you could also do it just by having move a -1. I got back over here now. Okay. Drag that up, and there's move. So under certain conditions, I want to move -1 step. Back right up. So I'm right back where I was. I won't be pointing this, well, at this particular instance, I will be pointing the same way because I pick my turn at random and I move my step. If I've got a problem, I want to back up. Okay. And why will there be a chance it'll work the next time? Because when I come around again, I'm going to make another turn. So maybe I won't be pointing across the fence, or maybe I will for several times until I pick a number that's not taking me across the fence. Okay. But I need to say, if this, do this. Okay. If. And we did have an if before, I think. But that's okay if you remember it. If you don't, that's fine too, because we're going to see it right now. Oh, I'm sorry, it's under control. And it's got to scroll down a little bit to get to it. There is the if. Okay. And I'll leave these two guys here as crumbs and make copies of them and put it in here. So if the Y position is greater than 25, so right mouse, duplicate, and put it in there. Okay. Then I want you to back up. Duplicate that, put it in there. So will the sprite back up if I click it right now? Yes, it will. It's too late to do any good right now because it's so far. No, I'm sorry, it's okay right now. It's 20, so we'll be all right. I was still thinking we're back up the top there. Okay, so it shouldn't do anything. Okay. All right. Now if I click it, it should back up. And you can see it's moving. Okay. But we're just testing things here. We really need to catch it the very first time it goes across. All right. So let me duplicate this, and I want to put it in immediately after it moves. So now our random walk has one fence in it. Pick a turn at random, make your move, check your Y position. If it's bigger than 25, back up, and then go over again. All right, so I'll click OK. Maybe I'll click Apply so we can keep looking at it if we want to. All right, and we're changing our method here, so I'll do a clear. Well, let me do a restart first. Shouldn't matter because we didn't draw any lines, we did a restart, but you know, belt and suspenders, right? And I'll click my clear. I didn't click my clear. It's a question of which did I do first. Okay, so there we are. And here's our random walk, but now we got a fence in it. Okay. Okay, it's not moving. Let me pause this just a second. Okay, I didn't do anything except close the editor and open it again. And it worked, but I cleared the screen. So now let's try it again. So we'll click our random walk, and there we go. We can pause too as well as stop. So let me pause just for a second here. Okay. Now you can see the Y position is being shown to many decimal places there, and so is the x position, which we aren't using the x right this minute. Okay. So there's our random walk, and the y position is down around -4. Okay. All right, let's resume again. And we aren't getting a chance to see whether or not things are happening when it gets to be 25 right now because it's wandering down here. So let's do some things for testing purposes to see what's going on here. Okay, so I'm going to stop it. For one thing, it might be good to know every time it hit that fence. The sprite can say messages to us, and they're under look here. Okay. Actually, I should say we can think of them as message, but message has a different meaning in this context, so it can say words to us. If I click this, it should say hello. So it should be a little hello bubble right there. And there's the hello. Okay. Let's say woof or something if it gets to the fence. Now, I'm sure there's some people that love animals out there, and I love them too. This is a very gentle reminder to the sprite, and it's not hurt in any way. It just says woof. Okay. So when is it going to do that? Well, right when it gets the little reminder that it's not where it's supposed to be, or should I say it is where it isn't supposed to be. Okay. So if the y position is greater than 25, we send that signal. The sprite says woof and backs up. Okay. So we should see that happen. So now I'll click apply, and we'll do a restart, and I'll put a clear right here after it because we're changed the method again. Okay. Oh, by the way, we don't want that hello to hang on forever because we won't know when a new hello came. So let's use a different, say, one that just puts it up for a second. So back over to looks, and here it is. In fact, that hello is still up there from the time I tested it because we're saying woof now. So we want to say woof for 2 seconds. Okay. So I'll take this woof out. Now, the drag and drop is wonderful. We can't click the wrong spot here. Is wonderful, but sometimes you have to be a little careful when you're moving things around. And if you grab this, it's going to take both of them. Okay. And now we can separate them. And so I wouldn't give up the drag and drop for anything. Okay. Just have to be a little careful. Better pay your dues, like you might say. All right. So now we're back in here. And now it'll say woof for 2 seconds, and then the woof will go away. Okay. And by the way, if you have something on the screen that you don't want to see, you can say, and if you say with nothing in there, not only will it say nothing, it will take away the little bubble around it too. So if I click this, so in some sense for our restart, if we really want to clean things up, we could say nothing. So now when we click restart, pin goes up, back there, all these things, and we also clear off any messages that may be there. So I'll click OK. Okay. So now we'll be able to tell if the sprite ever got its signal because it'll say woof. And I'll click random walk. There it is. Okay, so we can spend a lot of time here waiting for it because where is this? Down at -14. Now it's -30. It's a long way from positive 25. Okay. Well, for testing purposes, we can do the following. I'll click stop first here. Let's get that sprite right up by the fence and test it there. This won't be part of our random walk. This is part of our testing. Let's see if things are working. When we do our real testing, we'll start it back at 0, 0. Okay. By the way, Well, I'll wait until it's there. Well, okay. Um, when you're building a fence, the way we're doing it, it's only going to work if the animal starts out inside the fence. It won't work if he's outside the yard already. You can do other things, but we're going to work this way. Okay. And if you check your calendars for next semester, we can get together and do some more if you want to. Okay. Let's see here what's happening now. So I want to, oh, yeah, okay. Hit my apply. I don't think I have any changes anyway, but never hurts to be sure. So I want to get the sprite right up to the fence and pointing so that it's going to step right across it. Very, very likely. Of course, it may not. Okay, so I'm going to do a restart and a clear. Okay. All right. And remember, the fence is at 25. Where is the sprite right now? Of course, the restart put it at 0, 0. So I want to go back to motion so I can move things. And in this case, I'm just going to change the. Do I have one that says set Y? Let me see here. I can do it, but yeah, here it is. A lot of times we want to change both X and Y. All right, so I'm going to set Y to 24, so it is inside. Okay, and I'm going to turn it so it's even more likely to go across the fence. So I want it pointing up. So point in direction up, which is 0. Okay, so this will reset it to 24. And there we are. Now, there's no guarantee. The first number we generate might be 180, and the sprite might turn around and come down and wander off and never cross that. Okay? And if it does, we'll hit stop and we'll bring it back here and keep trying it, because it's a pretty good chance that whatever number we pick, well, not at every number, but a good chance we'll get one that takes us up there, and we'll get a chance to watch the wolf come. All right, so we're ready to go, and let's click our random walk. And sure enough, we did turn down. There it is. We got our wolf. We got the 25 point something or other. There's another wolf. Another one. Another one. Another one. So on. Okay. Now, if you're in a hurry, who isn't these days, right? We can actually, I think our eyes will pick it up and catch it if we only say wolf for 1 second. So I'll hit apply. And we'll do a clear, a restart, and then we'll get the testing position. In fact, let me put a comment here. That's what it is. Add a comment. Go to testing position. Okay. So that's what this right here is going to do. Okay. So we did a restart, clear, and now we're going to go to testing position. And now we're going to do our random walk. And we got a wolf right away. You might ask yourself what kind of figure we're going to get with that requirement in there that the y has to be less than 25. Okay. So I'm going to pause the recording and let the thing go a little bit, and we'll see what happens when we come back. You can be checking on yours if you want to too. Okay, so now we're back, and you can kind of see almost kind of like a line up there across the top. The sprite can get a little bit over 25 when it makes that first step, because remember, it takes the step and draws the line, then it backs up, so it doesn't erase the line. But it can't get much above 25. Technically, if it was vertical to it, it could get to 26, okay, because it's taking a step of 1. But if it's taking it at an angle, then the y coordinate won't get the full 1, but that's the most it could get. So it's going to start a little bit like a straight line. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop this now actually, and let's clear the screen, and let's put some more conditions in. And I'd like for you to take a look at this yourself first, if you don't mind, before you look at what I'm going to do. So I'll take my screen off. But what we want to do now is say there's a problem. We had a river up here. Now there's a highway down here. And so our comment is we have a problem. Okay. I have a problem typing my comment. There we go. Problem if sprite gets on or below or let's just say below. Makes it easier to do the less than, greater than. Below -10. Kind of like some people in the wintertime, if the temperature gets below -10, they got a problem. Okay. All right. So that's what we want to do. And I'll give you a hint, which you probably don't need, but I'll give you one anyway. You need another block that looks just like this as far as structure goes, but it won't be greater than and it won't be 25. Okay. All right. So if you like copying things, right mouse, duplicate, and if you come over here, just to get it built before you put it in, you can change it, and once it's changed, you can put it in right after the other one. Actually, you can put it in front of the other one if you like. Okay. It won't matter which way you do it. Okay. Let me just try one thing as long as we're here. Let me click that and see if it'll let me change it. Nope, it won't. Okay. So I'm going to have to get another block. Okay. As long as we're talking about that, though. If you take these operators, if it's a plus, you say, no, I really need a minus. I thought you could change those too. I better be quiet. Okay. All right. That's fine. So we'll have to go get the less than operator, which is right here. And I'm not going to be, I better be careful. I want to do the whole thing where you won't have to do it. Okay. So I'm going to shut the recording off, do it. You guys do it too. And let's get back together and we'll see what we got. Okay. Okay. So I'm back. And what I've got is if the Y position is less than -10, then sure enough, say your woof and back up. Okay. So here it is, and I need to put it in right before the RW there. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. When I duplicated it, by the way, it duplicates everything on down. So what I just put in there was an extra RW, which we don't want. Okay. Okay. So now we take our move, and if the Y position is greater than 25, we back up and say woof. If it's less than -10, we say woof and back up. Okay. It turns out that one step can't make both of these get violated at the same time. So either one of these others will fire first, and if this one fires, then this one is already fixed by the time it gets here. Okay. Or what? This one won't cause a problem, so it won't take two steps backwards on the same one. Okay. And of course, a lot of times it won't be any problem at all. All right. So there it is. I'll hit apply. All right. Let's shrink this down a little bit here. And to see whether it's working or not, let's duplicate this and have another testing condition. So I'm going to set Y to -9 right next to that fence. Okay, the fence is a -10, but now I want it pointing down. So it's going to try to step across the fence. And down is 180. Okay. I'll put a comment here. More testing. Or another testing position. All right. So I need to do a restart, a clear, okay, and get it in the second testing position. Okay. Notice that y indeed is -9. 180 should have been down. It didn't point down. It's pointing up. Point in direction 180 down. Okay, let's try that again. Now, why are you doing that? Let's just put it up and see what happens here. All right, let me pause this and see if I can figure what the sprite's doing wrong. Well, it looks like we might have gotten a bad shipment of blocks. But this is the kind of thing sometimes you have to do. I tried it over here, and it worked, so I threw away my block I had and dragged a new one over. Now it appears to be working. Let's see if it will. So let's do a restart and a clear, get rid of some of my testing. Okay. So now I'm pointing here, but I want to come right down to that line, -9. I want to point right at it. There it is. Okay. Okay. And in fact, I'll show you, I was trying to see what was going on, so I told the sprite, or told Snap actually, not only tell me the X and Y coordinate of the sprite, but tell me what its direction is. So here it says, sure enough, it is 180, which is what I asked it to do. Okay. So this is for testing purposes. You can leave it there too if you want to. It depends on what we're trying to do. Let's hit a random walk here and see if we can get it to bump into the bottom. Already we hit the bottom right away. Okay. Okay, you can see it in the -10s here. Okay, boy, it's really hitting that bottom. Now it's getting away a little bit for a few times, but it's hitting it pretty hard. And there we go. And of course, this is a testing situation. We put it right up against the fence to make sure that code was working. When we get to the real thing, we'll put it back at 0 and let it draw. Okay. All right. So in the interest of saving time, we'll stop it here. All right. So we've got problems in the one part of our yard and the other part of our yard. Okay. All right. So neighbors move in on both sides. Wonderful people. Love sprites, but they don't want them in their yard. Okay. All right. So we got a problem if the sprite gets too far to the right or if it gets too far to the left. Okay. So let's see what we can do here about I'm going to take this testing position off now and this one off and this one off just to give us a little room, and this off too. Okay, and I'm going to add on to our problem here. Also, if gets to the right of, oh, I don't know, let's say 15. Okay, so that over here also if to the left of -5, say. Okay. So I need to add 2 more blocks to here. Okay. That will deal with these 2 conditions right here. Okay. And let me duplicate this again. I'll bring it over here and I'll get rid of my RW. Okay. So now I've got to change the numbers. One time it'll be 15, one time it'll be -5, and I'll have to be sure I've got the right kind of sign. But I've also got to do one more thing. I'm going to pause and see if you can figure out what it is before I tell you. I'll give you a couple seconds to find the pause button, and then you can decide how much time you want to have to figure it out. Okay, so you're back from pausing, or you figured it out instantaneously. Either way, great. What tells me if I'm to the right or to the left? Well, it's the X position. Okay, so in this new block I'm making, I'll have to have X position in there. And in the next block I make, I'll have to too. Okay, so I'm going to pause the recording and make those two changes. And I suggest you do the same. And when we get back, we'll compare notes. Okay, so I've got the two new if blocks ready, but I haven't put them in place yet. And again, because I have claustrophobia, I've designed those outside of the out of the block editor. You certainly could do it right inside. All right, let's look at the first one here. Also, if it gets to the right of the 15, so if the X position is bigger than 15, we got a problem. So the same thing happens. We say woof for a second, and we back up. Okay. If it's to the left of -5, so that means if the X position is less than -5, say woof and do that. So those are the ones, and now we just have to put them in, and there's a lot of flexibility where we put them in. Just got to be a little careful here. We don't want to mix anything up here. But I'm just going to go ahead and put them in order we encountered them. And the next one here was 15. So I'm going to grab this guy and put it after the other if is finished and before we start over again. Okay. And then I'll drag up a little bit and put this one after that other one is done. And I'm watching my little white line that tells me where it's going to be. And there it is. So now I've got my four conditions. Okay. All my testing, and I should be okay. So I'll click OK. And go back over here. Maybe to clear things up a little bit, we don't need to see the direction anymore. We're having a problem there, so that's when I showed that. So I'll take that off. But it is good to see the positions. Okay, so let's see now. Here's our restart, our clear. All right, so we'll do our restart and our clear. Okay. And again, as I alluded before, when we do our random walk, we need to be sure. Did the clear? I missed the clear? There it is. Sorry. We need to be sure that the sprite is inside the area we're trying to contain it with. Okay. And it's at 0, 0. And if you go back here, edit. If it's at 0, 0, 0 is not bigger than 25, so that's okay. 0 is not less than -10, so that's okay. We're inside that one too. 0 is not bigger than 15, so no problem there. And 0 is not less than -5, so we're definitely inside, and we're okay. So I'm going to click OK, and now I'm going to let it run. We got a woof there and another woof. And you can see here the spike position's at -10. So that's the one that's actually causing this. You could, if you wished, change your woof message to say what it was. Woof too low, woof too high, and so forth like that. Okay. Okay, in the interest of saving time, I'm going to pause the recording and let's see what kind of shape we're getting here. So the sprite's busy working, and let's stop it now. Okay, and let's get rid of that. I actually got rid of the wolf forest, but let's hide the sprite too. That's under looks, and here's I'm gonna want to show it again later. So there's the hide, but not together. Okay, so it drew pretty close to a rectangle forest, a little hedging around the edges there, and it didn't get down here yet. But if you wait long enough, it should fill that. Will fill that guy in. And there are at let's see, we got 3 of them here. Let's add that so our description is complete. The first one was 25. So problem with sprite gets above 25, right, greater than 25. Also, if gets below, make this a little bit wider here if we can. There we go. That would be nice if all in one line. Okay, maybe a blank line in between them. So it really stands out. Okay, so problem with sprite gets above 25. There, if y position greater than 25, we got a problem. If less than -10, also if it gets below -10, okay, that's good. And also if it gets to the right of 15, it'd be greater than 15. And if it gets to the left of -5, that would be less than -5. There we go. Okay, so there we are. And that's the end of our session on random walks. Oh, wait a minute. I guess it's not. I need to save this not as 1 fence, but 4 fences. So save as, and random walk 4 fences. Save. So if we do a file, save as, but we're not going to really save it, just to look and see what's out there. We've got random walk 1 fence, random walk 4 fence, random walk no fences. Okay. All right. So we'll do another one and continue there. But that's all for this one.